Hey guys, this is Off the Real. This is Richard and this is Bilal. And this episode we're going to be looking over two things. T2.
Trainspotting. Yep.
Trainspotting 2 and Big Little Lies, new HBO series that we got into. So yeah, let's get into it. T2. Trainspotting 2.
So we saw this together.
We saw it together.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Because I have a lot to say. So
okay, yeah. My biggest concern was it came out March 17th. That was the US release date. We saw it this weekend. The thing that caught me was like I was texting you. Okay, I was asking you questions about it because the thing that bothered me was like, why isn't anybody watching this film? There's only this one cinema that we go to that has like very like artsy films or like it's an art house film. But and only Trainspotting was there. Like Trainspotting was only there, and I was like, why isn't it at the Palladium or why isn't it anywhere else that's other than the Cinema Bistro that we go to? Right?
I'll say that.
So it's like, why isn't anybody watching it? Why isn't it have enough noise? Like, why isn't it like, I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest though, I never really expected it to, just because like, not to kind of touch on the state of movies today. I'm not trying to do anything pretentious like that, but I mean like. No one's going to get excited about a movie with a bunch of heroin addicts. I mean, if you look at the reception of the first movie, just to kind of touch on that before we go into the second one, because I do think it's important. It was kind of the same thing where people in Europe were going crazy about it because it was like this revolutionary thing for British cinema. And when it came over to the US 3 months later, it was met with a lot of outrage, mainly from conservatives and stuff like that, because there was one interview with Charlie Rose with Danny Boyle, John Hodge, and whoever the producer was, I forgot his name, but he was kind of chewing them out. Like, it was kind of interesting to see because I mean like Charlie Rose is pretty respected, cinema stuff. So I mean like people appreciated it, but it was something that was like, oh well, typically you don't want to talk about those things or at least glamorize it. Not to say that it does glamorize it, but like it doesn't necessarily. It leaves you to be like, okay, that's bad. It doesn't tell you it's bad, because it's trusting that you have a brain to know that this is bad, So, I mean, I wasn't really expecting anyone to get excited about it. I know everyone in Europe was going to be going crazy, and they were. And that was actually the thing with me because the movie came out in January in Europe, and when I was looking online with just some, to see what some reactions were, because, it's a lot of concern, you can mess up an entire film just by making a sequel because the ending of the first one is so perfect, but people were going crazy about it. They were saying it's fantastic.
They were saying I heard a lot of people saying it was better than the first one.
That's what I was hearing too.
I was like, okay, let's watch this.
So that was my kind of thing going into it. It's like, to start off, I think we both. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked the first movie. Yeah, really.
First movie is like one of my favorites of all time. So I mean, there's a lot of hope going into this one. Oh, it's more Trainspotting and stuff like that. But for me, the film itself was fantastic from a Trainspotting fan point of view, because seeing all the guys back together, all that stuff was great. The biggest issue I had with it though was the structure of the film felt akin to taking a 10-episode arc in a show and cramming it into a 2-hour film, because it is so scatterbrained with because it has a lot to do. You have to do a lot.
Yeah, it's 20 years.
And I get that. I mean, like, you have to show where everyone is, what's going on with everyone and all that stuff. But the issue with this film, and I was talking to you about this, was that if you look at ensemble films in general, they typically have a centralized protagonist to where we're viewing the world through their eyes. So like Boogie Nights, for example, it's Dirk Diggler's story, but everyone around there does have their own spotlight. Like that movie is what I consider the best kind of ensemble film, because like it does what I think this movie was trying to do, which is it shows multiple characters, but it also gives them their moment to shine while also telling the story of one person. And that's
this one didn't.
This one didn't do that but that was so confusing because like the first one did. It's so weird because like you open with the choose life thing in the first film, and that like kind of sets the storytelling for the entire film, with Renton kind of walking you through their world and like bringing you into this like kind of chaotic and different world from, what traditional people are like. So the fact that the narration was completely gone, I think it was like twice, but if it came in at like random points too, which didn't make much sense. But then also, it's covering essentially 3 storylines, and mind you, we're gonna talk a little bit about spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Right? Spoiler alert. I guess.
So,
just hear the first part if you want to watch it. I'm
sure that there was probably a label.
Come back. Come back.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should probably go watch it. It's not really.
And then listen to this.
Yeah, and then listen to this. Yeah. But it's pretty much tackling 3 stories in one film, which is to me not a sign of really good storytelling. It's telling Ren's story. Ren and Sick Boy. And then we have the whole Spud thing. And then Spud's storyline was one thing, and then he would occasionally drop into whatever Renton and Sick Boy were doing. Yeah. And then you have Big B and him getting out of prison, and he really only comes in at the end, and they all really only tie in at the end. So it's not to say that what was happening was bad. There's some funny stuff.
It was parts where we're laughing.
No, the one scene with Big B and Renton in the bathroom stall, I think was way better than the scene in Trainspotting. That was hilarious when they slowly start to figure out. And that was great. And then there's a lot that was great going on, but in terms of it felt as if each scene was great, but then if you looked at it in an entire kind of spectrum, it was just too much of a mess.
Mm-hmm. There's so much
going on. It's a problem when I'm talking to you about, hey, do you remember that one scene?
Yeah, because I was like, what? I'm not sure.
It's one of those things where it's but that can happen when you don't have good storytelling. And it's not to say that it's bad storytelling, but it's just not.
Let's say we both love the film. Yeah. Right? We both love it. It was just that main.
Yeah, that was the biggest flaw with it. And to me, that's a pretty big flaw. A lot of people nitpick at films for the sake of nitpicking because they don't have any criticism with it. Mm-hmm. But this is a legitimate one to where I feel like this should have been pointed out pretty early on. And that's why I kept getting pulled out during the film.
Yeah.
But overall it was great. Danny Boyle's style is amazing, this film.
You definitely, it's a signature.
You feel Danny Boyle in there. In some ways, he's sometimes the star of the film just from his style alone. The really frenetic way that he cuts in music videos too. I thought that was great. That's fantastic. Yeah.
And subtitles, because
that was fantastic.
You start off because the movie starts off with some subtitles,
but it's
and
done
you're know that because
they're
Scottish. They're Scottish.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's just fast paced talking, and
it's funny because everyone in the U.S. was complaining when the first movie came out about the scene where Big B is telling the story about the
and you're like, what the hell is going on?
So they had to make him redub it, but what they did here is fantastic because it kind of makes your ear kind of adjust to how they talk by reading what they're talking about. So I thought that was done great. The movie overall it's good. It's just that it's just not very focused, and that's such an issue because it's you know what I'm saying? It just feels too scatterbrained to do justice to what the first film did. And one thing I want to touch on real quick is the way they kind of just throw kind of homages in to where
definitely
there's a lot of things you could have done that were subtle. They were fantastic, but one specifically was the Choose Life thing, where out of nowhere, Ron hey, what's Choose Life? And he's like, oh, that's a funny story. Choose life. And he goes into a 9-minute
a 10-minute
hey, this is what happened during the first film. Isn't that funny? It's there was a lot of those moments. I felt like it's a very flawed, great film.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great, but it's very flawed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, other than that though, if you haven't seen it and you like Trainspotting 1, you're gonna dig this film.
Yeah, it was a good movie. We actually watched it with one of my friends, and she hadn't seen Trainspotting 1.
That was actually really surprising to me.
Yeah, and she was like, I really like this movie, even though.
So I'm curious. Did she watch the first one?
No, she hasn't watched it yet.
Okay.
But she talks about how it was very messy in the beginning, but once she got on the reins or whatever, she was like, okay, this is a great movie. So
I'm curious though, if she does go back and see the first one, will she think that Renton kind of being the arc or the anchor for the entire film, will she see that being kind of an issue compared to the second one? That's what I'm kind of worrying about. I'm not worrying about, but curious about. But yeah, so that's what we thought about Trainspotting. Now we're gonna move on to.
Okay, so the second thing that we want to talk about is Big Little Lies. Now, it was on the way over here. I was like, I've been watching this TV show, Big Little Lies, like, because it's a all female driven cast. Right?
I'll say this, like, you know, not many people know about it, but if you like to see white people cry outside their fancy houses,
this is a show for you.
Movie.
I mean,
it's a show.
It's a good. I mean, it was.
No, that's not doing it. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's a great show. Let's talk about who's in it. So we have now Nicole,
small actresses, you know.
Nicole Kidman, Shailene Woodley, Reese Witherspoon, Adam Scott, Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz is kind of small, but the rest of the cast is pretty like.
Laura Dern, man,
she's so good in the show too.
It's a female-driven cast.
So I mean, like, if we were to kind of just do like an elevator pitch, I guess it's pretty much just like. I don't know, how would you describe it? Because it's kind of hard to put a
because it's like it's a mystery because there's a death.
It's very much like it's HBO, by the way, so you know it's going to be good quality content. But like, so it does have this kind of True Detective kind of feel to where it does these things where it uses depositions to cut back to events that happened earlier on. So this is not a spoiler, by the way. We're not going to really touch on spoilers with this because it's, you know, a TV show.
And it is a mystery, so you are slowly giving hints throughout the series.
Yeah. So apparently someone gets murdered. We don't know who it is, but it's essentially telling this tale of three kind of, two of them are housewives. One of them is like a single mom.
Yeah.
Living through, where is the city again?
It's in Monterey, California.
I don't believe that exists. Is that an actual
place? I actually looked it up. But the fact that
that place is gorgeous.
They passed through the bridge is like, I read it that it's not even close to Monterey.
So it's completely off.
It's just like...
I want to go wherever they filmed it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Man.
It's like California.
But it has this kind of like... I don't know, this kind of satirical kind of edge to it. I don't think it was intended, but like if you view it from a very satirical viewpoint, it's actually really funny. Yeah. Just because it's a lot of rich people crying about, you know.
Yeah, and then I was telling you earlier, the amount of sass, like the amount of like passive aggressiveness in this show.
It's so.
It's like, oh my god.
But it makes you want to just like, you know, it's great. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I mean, but if you guys have seen stuff like Dallas Buyers Club, Wild, Demolition. This is all by the same guy. He directed this entire series, John Mark Vallée. I think this guy's a talent. He's very underrated. I mean, he's a great director, but I mean, like, nobody really talks about him as much. His style is so frenetic. That's the one thing that I really dig about this show. It's just like the kind of just snap kind of quality to it. And like, we talked about Danny Boyle earlier, but like, he also kind of does the same kind of thing, but it's his own thing. It feels very, not to sound really pretentious, it's going to sound pretentious, but very vintage, I guess, just in terms of like the music choices he makes or a lot of hits from the 60s.
Let's talk about that. I wanted to really talk about that. So the soundtrack plays as its own character in the show because it's so good. You got Leon Bridges, you got Alabama Shakes, you got Fleetwood Mac, you got Frank Ocean, you
Charles
got
Barkley,
so there's so many people, so many songs, and it's like I don't know.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
No, it's great.
It's a good soundtrack on its own. You know what I'm talking about?
No, it's one of those.
But it also plays the character into the series because
it gives a pulse to this kind of like almost cold.
Sets a tone for the series. Definitely.
Well, not only that, I mean, like to me, it gives this sense of humanity in a way, to where it's like it grounds them a little bit more. Because there are some points to where, like, you know, a character will be singing along to like Papa Was a Rolling Stone or something like that, right? And I mean, like, if you watch these characters complain about stuff, it's so like, why are you crying about little stuff like that? But then these little moments happen and it kind of grounds you with them a little bit, you know? So it acts as a, like you said, like a character in a way, to where it does play a big part in it. But it's interesting though, because the one problem that I kind of have with it, and not to touch on spoilers, like we talked about, but it's paced out like a 10-episode arc. But it's only 7 episodes.
That's what we got to talk about too. It's it's a mini series.
Yeah.
So I watched the first 6, and I was like, okay, there's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And then I realized I saw that there was only 7. And I was like, what? Like, how is it gonna finish?
It's weird because I mean, like, it's paced out so slowly, and like, not to say that it's bad or anything, because it's still really
it's
enjoyable.
So good.
Yeah.
It's a good show. We're recommending you should watch it.
Yeah, no, it's enjoyable, and it's little like in terms of like, okay, you have to live in the world that they're living in. You can't keep in mind some of the stuff that is occurring in real life. Like, it's definitely first world problems, but if you watch it from that perspective, it's really hilarious. Just to see people complain about stupid shit like this, but it just feels like it's going towards a 10-episode arc.
Yeah.
But then right now we're actually filming this before the last episode airs, so I don't.
Honestly, I don't know how.
I don't know where they're gonna cram it in. I mean, that's the one thing. It's just it's like. Is the last episode going to just be like stock full of whatever happens?
Or is the episode going to be like an hour and 30 minutes?
I'm assuming it is, just because that's what HBO kind of likes to do. They've done it with like Game of Thrones and Westworld and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so the fact that, Jean-Marc Vallée is a film director traditionally, it would kind of make more sense. I just hope that it's not what he traditionally does with films, because my biggest problem with him as a director is just because he doesn't handle the third act well, like in any of his movies. They're always rushed. They always kind of fall off at the end, and I'm kind of worried that this is going to do the same thing, because probably even worse, because I don't even know.
Yeah, because
there's no ending in sight right now, and it's kind of worrying because we only have an episode left. So,
but that's our thoughts on Big Little Lies. To give our recommendations this week, we want to talk about, if you love Big Little Lies and you want to watch Shailene Woodley act incredibly. And a good story, you should check out Spectacular Now. That's a good love story between high school kids.
I haven't actually seen it, but a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a great movie. You guys should watch that. That's my recommendation. What's your?
I was gonna recommend Demolition. It was the last movie that.
The director.
Yeah, Jean-Marc Vallée. Slipped my mind completely. Yeah. Pretty much a lot of people that I talked to who saw it didn't like it for some reason. I will say the plot is a little weak, but. It's essentially surrounding Jake Gyllenhaal, who's this like kind of corporate kind of dude, doesn't really have as much compassion for people. His wife dies, and it's kind of him handling his wife's death, but it's done kind of comedically. And I love that movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it now that.
Yeah, I'll say if you like the soundtrack to Big Little Lies, man, this is just chock full of like really good stuff. I mean, like. A song by Heart plays like a really big part in it, and like it's fantastic just to see Jake Gyllenhaal freak out, but like freak out in a really funny way. So check that out if you haven't. So so that's about it, right?
So guys, that was Off the Reel. This is Rich. This is Bilal signing out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Click our logo to subscribe, or click one of the videos for more from the Paisano. Leave a comment letting us know your thoughts and what you'd like to see us cover next.